Hello everyone, this is Dialect and I'm here to help you learn Arabic. So guys, we're here today to learn lesson 2 in the Arabic grammar course, which is a course that will help you learn the grammar basics in Arabic and will help you speak Arabic Fusha as well as Arabic Ammi. Arabic Sahel. So today we're going to talk about how to say this is in Arabic. But before we start, please you guys don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Arabic Sahel, and follow me on Spotify, Arabic Sahel Community. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, this is an expression in English used to point or identify something or someone, regardless of the gender of the noun. For example, if we are pointing at a student, whether this student is a female or a male, we say this is to both of them. So we say this is a student. While in Arabic, we have to distinguish between the gender of the noun that we're talking about in order to know what expression to use. So let's discuss that. First of all, let's start with how to say this is in formal Arabic, Fusha. So basically, in Fusha, we have two different expressions. هذا. Please, you guys, repeat after me. هذا. هذا. Not ha. هذا. So, هذا is an expression used to point at masculine nouns. And the one used to point at feminine nouns is هذه. هذه. Please also repeat after me. هذه. هذه. So let's go back to the word student. In Arabic, if you want to translate this word, you have to consider the gender of the noun you're talking about. So if you're talking about a male student, you say تلميذ. تلميذ. And if you're talking about a female student, you say تلميذة. تلميذة. And I've said before that you can omit the un sound at the end of the nouns you're pronouncing. So you can say tilmidh instead of tilmidhun. Tilmidh. Okay? And when you have a tun sound at the end of a word that refers to ta marbuta with a tanween on it, you can omit the tun sound and instead you can say the sound. So instead of saying tilmidhatun, you can say tilmida, tilmida. And these notes are mentioned in the fundamental Arabic course. You can go back, you guys, if you have a difficulty in writing and pronouncing Arabic, to study this lesson on my YouTube channel, Arabic Sahel. So yeah, basically, if you want to say this is a student and the student you're talking about is a boy, you say هذا تلميذ. هذا تلميذ. هذا تلميذ. Or you just omit the un sound at the end and you say هذا تلميذ. هذا تلميذ. And if the student you're talking about is a girl, you say هذه تلميذة. هذه تلميذة. Or again هذه تلميذة. هذه تلميذة. Okay, and I know you guys saying, okay, Diana, good. I know now that هذا is used for a masculine noun and هذه is used for a feminine noun. Clear. But how do I distinguish between masculine and feminine nouns, knowing that I don't have enough vocabulary words in Arabic? Okay, so guys, I'm gonna give you now a rule that will help you distinguish between masculine nouns and feminine nouns, but please know that it's not about the rules, it's about the practice. As much as you use Arabic words in your daily life and you practice more speaking Arabic, you will be able to distinguish between the feminine and masculine nouns thoroughly without thinking. So basically, if you're listening to the tun sound at the end, which reflects a ta marbuta with a tanween on it, this means that the noun you're talking about is 90% a feminine noun, unless it's a plural noun. So as a beginner, I advise you guys to look at the word you're listening to, not just listen to it as a beginner. So for example, if I hear the word wardatun, you can search it and look at it to see the ta marbuta at the end, okay? Because I might say the word bayton, but bayton, though it ends with ton sound, it's not a feminine word. So it's better for you as a beginner to look at the word you're listening to before deciding, okay? So yeah, basically if the word ends with a ton sound that reflects a ta marbuta with a tanween on it, it's a feminine noun. And also if this word ends with a sound that reflects an alif maqsura, which is the ya without the points at the end, it's also considered a feminine noun. So let's take an example. Wardatun. Wardatun. And the word wardatun in Arabic means flower. If you look into this word, you will be able to see the ta marbuta at the end. And here you can thoroughly know that this word is a feminine word. And thus you say, هذه وردة. هذه وردة. Now, if we take the word da'wa, and you also look for da'wa on Google or on the search engines we have today, you will see that da'wa ends with an alif maqsura. And thus you will thoroughly know that this word is a feminine word. And da'wa means court case. Repeat after me, guys. Da'wa. Da'wa. So if you're pointing at it, you say هذه دعوة. هذه دعوة. And the reason we used هذه here is because da'wa is a feminine noun. Okay, now let's take دعوة. Yeah, these are two different words. One is da'wa and the second one is da'watun. Da'wa with alif maqsura means court case. Da'watun with ta marbuta means invitation. So also here, if you look into the word da'watun, you will see ta marbuta at the end. And thus you will know that this word is a feminine word. So if you want to use this is with it, you say هذه instead of هذا. So you say هذه دعوة. Okay, great. Oh, I talked too much. So now I want you to know that there are some nouns that don't end with ta marbuta nor with alif maqsura and still are considered feminine nouns. Yeah. So for example, the word عين. عين. And عين means eye. Eye, which is the organ in your face, not I, the pronoun, okay? عين. And the word عين is a feminine noun, so we say هذه عين. هذه عين. Note here that the word عين in Arabic can mean eye, which is an organ in your face, and can mean spring, which gives water. So عين is a feminine noun. Another word, أم. أم. And the word أم means mother. So you say هذه أم. شمس. شمس. The word شمس means sun. And we say هذه شمس. هذه شمس. There are many more, you guys. You can look into them in the PDF attached to the video uploaded on my YouTube channel, Arabic Sahel. Okay, so now we're going to talk about two different expressions that also mean this is in Arabic. إنه and إنها. إنه for a masculine noun and إنها for a feminine noun. First of all, let's break things down. إنه and إنها are basically composed of إن and a pronoun. The word إن in Arabic is used for emphasis. So these two expressions, though they mean this is, but they're used for emphasis. And to illustrate that, let's distinguish between هذا هذه and إنه and إنها. Okay? So first of all, as we said before, هذا and هذه are two demonstrative pronouns used to point or identify at something in simple and neutral way. هذا is used for masculine nouns. هذا تلميذ. هذه is used for feminine nouns. هذه تلميذة. Now, when to use هذا and هذه? هذا and هذه are basically used to introduce something for the first time, or to show or point at an object or a person without adding emotion. For example, if I'm asking you ما هذا, and the expression ما هذا means what is this? ما هذا. So you see a book and you just want to tell me that this is a book. You say هذا كتاب. The word book means كتاب and it's a masculine noun. So كتاب, we say هذا كتاب. So basically here you use هذا because you're just pointing at something without showing emotions in a simple and a neutral way. But what if you want to add more emotion into that? So let's suppose you're talking to your best friend, who is the closest person for you on earth, and this person visits you multiple times a week in your own house, in which your brother lives also. So your brother came, and your best friend asked you, من هذا? من هذا? من هذا is also an expression used to say, who is this? Who is this? ما هذا is used to say, what is this? من هذا is used to say, who is this? So, yeah, he said, من هذا? And you got surprised from the fact that he visited you multiple times in the place where you and your brother live, and he still doesn't know that this person is your own brother. So here you don't say هذا أخي. You don't use the word هذا. You use the word إنه. إنه. And as I've said before, إنه is a word that is composed of the word إن to show emphasis. So you say إنه أخي. You don't say هذا أخي. And why is that? Because إنه shows more emotions, and it means literally in English, of course, this is my brother, or indeed, this is my brother, or surely it's my brother. How come you don't know that? So this is what it means in Arabic. إنه أخي. إنه أخي. Repeat after me, guys. إنه أخي. So you say إنه أخي. And if you're talking about a female, you say إنها أختي. So أخي becomes أختي. But let's just not focus on the noun. You just say إنه for a masculine noun and إنها for a feminine noun. Okay? إنه for a masculine noun, إنها for a feminine noun. Okay, so now let's discuss how to use هذا and هذه and إنه and إنها in spoken Arabic. Well, let's start with هذا and هذه. So basically this is very easy, you guys, because you will listen to the word هذا used in certain Arab regions as it is. For example, in the Gulf regions, they use the word هذا, but they make it heavier when pronouncing the first syllable in it. So you will hear it like this, هذا, not هذا, هذا. Okay? It's the same word, but the intonation differs. And the word هذه in those regions is used as هذه, هذه, not هذه. Okay? They omit the he sound at the end, and instead they put like yeah, so it becomes هذه. But also they make the first syllable heavier, so it's pronounced as هذه. Okay? هذه. So let's talk about Lebanon, my own country. So basically, to say هذا in Lebanon, we usually say هيدا, هيدا. Yeah, even we omit the that sound. It becomes dal. It's not that anymore. It's da. So you say هيدا, هيدا, هيدا. For example, the word book, as I've said before, it's kitab. In spoken Arabic, it's the same. The intonation differs. It's ktab. Using Lebanese dialect, as I've told you before, the a sound becomes a sound. So we say ktab. Now in Syria, you will hear it as ktab, but in Lebanon, it's ktab. So we say هيدا ktab. Or you might hear it as هيدا ktab. هيدا instead of هيدا. But basically we say هيدا for masculine nouns and هيدي for feminine nouns. Like, for example, وردة, which is وردة in Fusha, is also used the same in spoken language, and it becomes ورد. ورد. The sound at the end becomes an sound in Lebanon. So we say ورد. So the word becomes هيدي ورد. هيدي ورد. Okay guys, so we're finished now. I'm not gonna give you additional info about هذا and هذه. This is way too much already. But I'm gonna tell you a funny story that in certain regions, and especially here in Lebanon, you will hear certain people dropping one of the syllables of the word هيدا and هيدي. For example, if you're talking about هيدا, certain people drop the last part of هيدا, so it becomes he alone, he. So we say he كتاب or ha, depending on the region we're talking about. Ha كتاب or he كتاب. And for هيدي, we say hey or he also. Hey وردة or he وردة. Okay, the same depending on the region. In countries like Egypt, they drop only the first syllable and they keep the last one. So instead of saying هيدا, they say da alone for a masculine noun. So they say, for example, da كتاب. كتاب and not كتاب, because Lebanon is the only country that has this a sound instead of a sound while pronouncing the words, okay? So da كتاب, they say. And also for the word هيدي, they drop the hay, the first syllable at the beginning of the word, and they say دي. مثلا دي وردة, دي وردة, دي وردة. Yeah, I think people do that to simplify their pronunciation, but as I've said before, in spoken Arabic, you might listen to هيدا, هيدي, هيدا, هيدي, ha, he, hey, he, and in Egypt, they say da and di. You can use whatever one you want. People will understand you because they all come from the same origin, from Arabic Fusha. Okay, I'm teaching you Lebanese, but you will find it easier to learn any dialect once you know Fusha and one of the spoken languages around the Arab countries. So before I end that, I want to say that innahu and innaha are not used in spoken Arabic. Whether you want to show expressions, whether you want to emphasize, whether you want to point neutrally on something, you use hayda, hayde, and again, as I've said before, he, ha, and so on. Okay? So yeah, this was a very big and a long lesson to listen to. But I had fun, actually. It's only 2 words we're talking about, but they have such rich information. And this is the beauty about Arabic. All topics, they are so rich. You can dive deep into that. And I'm so glad, you guys, to be able to help you know the beauty behind Arabic language. And yeah, by that, we end this lesson. Please, you guys, find my video on YouTube attached to download the textbook or the PDF that summarizes all the notes that we've talked about through this lesson. And I'll see you in lesson 3. Please, you guys, don't forget to leave me a comment if you have any question. Follow me on Spotify, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in lesson 3. وداعاً. Arabic Sahel